Well, let's take you to Boksburg now, where that ANC National General Council is underway. SABC News anchor Thulasizwe Smelani, our man at the scene, as it were. Thulasizwe, give us a sense of where things stand this evening. Lots to discuss, as we were just hearing from Gwede Mantashe.
Yeah, Tembegile Bongiwe, good evening to you. I like your question, by the way, the question to the viewers for this evening about the NDR. It is interesting because National Democratic Revolution is firmly under the spotlight on day 2 of the National General Council of the ANC. But I also say, Tembegile and Bongiwe, that it is interesting because ask any member of the ANC what the NDR is, and you will likely come back with many, many differing answers. Many people who belong to the ANC and the broader tripartite alliance continue to grapple with it. So we thought, before we delve into what is happening today, we thought we'd wade in on that discussion with Mzwandile Mbeje, SABC News political editor. Good evening and welcome to day 2 of the National General Council of the ANC. And as the team in studio has said, today part of the focus has been on the state of the NDR, state of the National Democratic Revolution, and the balance of forces. I cannot wade in, Mzwai, on the latter, balance of forces, but I can at least wade in on the National Democratic Revolution here and there. Let me quickly catch you up before we start the conversation about where we stand right now. Throughout the day today, the various commissions have met and continue to meet to consider the various aspects that came out from the organizational midterm report that relate to their areas of work. When I say commissions, let's simplify it. It simply means work streams flowing from the subcommittees of the ANC as they are organized, and therefore you will have your Economic Transformation Subcommittee, you will have the Organizational Renewal Subcommittee, the committee that looks at least into the work on organizational renewal, media in the battle of ideas, international relations, social transformation. Take all of those, they all have to do with individual goals in society that the ANC is pursuing, and as they pursue that, they hope that it will take them to an end state, that is the National Democratic Society, and hence what they call the National Democratic Revolution. Mzwai, I hope I did a decent enough job of trying to explain, because it's important to demystify, isn't it? Because they use it glibly as the ANC, NDR, National Democratic Revolution, but in that, sometimes they leave some people behind in not understanding what they're talking about.
And it tends to be lost in this ideological big words, which end up really meaning absolutely nothing to an ordinary man and woman in the streets. So what is it? Maybe let's look at the historical context. So what is it that they even meant by saying National Democratic Revolution? What is that meant to achieve? So basically, we come from a society where we were divided, where there was racism, apartheid, and all sorts of evil things that were happening in a society that is actually in one country. So here is an organization that has always modeled itself as the parliament of the people, an organization that is fighting for all the people. That is why core principles of the ANC, non-racialism, non-sexism, prosperity for all, basically equality. So if you're talking about National Democratic Revolution, you basically are meaning embarking on a journey that will be able to transform some of the key institutions that have perpetuated that, so that I feel I belong here because of the things that that are happening. And it doesn't have to be at a theoretical level, Thulas. It also has to be at a very basic level. As someone who is a citizen of this country, when I finish here at 9 or 10, I should be able to walk out very freely. So that society, that revolution would have afforded me my democratic right to be free, because they would provide the conditions for me to be able to do that. So this means I must live in a country free of crime. I must live in a country that will offer opportunities so that I can be able to feed my family.
Yeah.
I must live in a country where equality will be for all, not only for some.
Yeah.
So basically, when you say democratic revolution, you are talking about the path towards a society that will be equal,
Absolutely.
that will recognize my rights, everyone's rights, so everyone where will feel they belong.
Yeah, where they tend to complicate it is when they then frame it along the lines of colonialism of a special type, which I think the best explanation that I ever got was from Gwede Mantashe himself, by the way, who said, in this country you didn't have colonizers that were going to leave at some point. The colonizer and the colonized were always going to end up living together, and therefore you needed to create a condition where everyone could be equal and be able to deal with the vestiges of that colonialism of a special type as they manifest around race, class, and gender in particular. If you can dismantle those, you are well on your path to equality. Anyway, enough of that, of just talking about the NDR.
Yeah.
Day 2, Mzwai, your reflections on how it has gone. Much of it has been behind closed doors, but there are themes that we are picking up that are part of the discussion firmly on the table now.
In fact, one of the themes that we are very interested in is after the SACP first Deputy Secretary General, General Secretary, it's the other way around.
Yeah, Madala Masu.
Yes, delivered his message yesterday. It seemed that message was being accepted in terms of how he was explaining the position of the SACP in relation to the alliance and the yet to be reconfigured alliance, until he got to a point, Tulas, where he basically said the SACP is going into the elections not to contest the ANC, and the delegates would have none of that.
Yes.
To say, if you are going to the elections, we are basically fishing in the same pond.
Yeah.
So there's no other explanation. So what we have since gathered, I mean, I will agree with you, it's behind closed doors, but we'll use our sources in one way or the other. What we are gathering is that the ANC delegates are pushing for the termination of the alliance with the SACP. For the sole reason that the SACP has basically decided to fish in the same pond where the ANC is fishing. So it's really pointless to call each other alliances. And then number 2, they are actually going as far as to say this thing of dual membership must cease. So which means if that passes, of course this is not going to be policy. Anything that comes out of fear is a recommendation. Remember, this is a general national council. So the decisions are made by conference. So if this council recommends that relationship dies, so we then expect that come the conference, it dies. And then what happens to the SACP and ANC? It's very interesting. That's what we are picking up.
In the next few minutes, Mzwai, and as you and I draw to a conclusion of our discussion, simply because I do need to bring in the next guest, Dr. Hosien Tsuramo-Khopa, a member of the ANC NGC, but also Minister of Electricity. So he'll be coming through to electrify us, all of us, in terms of the conversation around economic transformation. But before you leave, Mzwai, locate us in terms of where we are, the focus for the evening. Flowing from what we were saying about the NDR, an important document is being celebrated this evening.
A document really that is a foundation of our constitution, the Freedom Charter. So what is going to happening is that this evening, so they will celebrate the 70th birthday of the Freedom Charter, basically to look at where we come from. So have we been able to fulfill those clauses? Of course, we know that it's part of foundational principles of our constitution. So that's going to be happening hopefully in the next hour or so, but that's one item on the agenda.
All right, Mzwai, we'll catch up a bit later on. And of course, when that happens, it will include a speech by the ANC president as part of that dinner to mark the 70th anniversary of the Freedom Charter, a preamble and 10 clauses that were adopted on the 26th of June, 1955, envisioning exercise in which the delegates in Kliptown defined the kind of society that they wanted democratic South Africa to look like.